Okay, so I wanted to do an update to the earlier review I did on the Sony Bravia 9, the 85-inch. So one of the biggest disappointments was that there was audio delay on anything connected over HDMI. And I have a Denon 4700H receiver, and I had my Panasonic 4K Blu-ray player and my NVIDIA Shield running into the HDMI ports on the Denon receiver, and then an HDMI cable going from the receiver into HDMI 3 on the TV, which is the EARC port. So after taking suggestions online, what I did was I actually unplugged everything from the back of the receiver and plugged my Blu-ray player into HDMI 1 on the back of the TV and my NVIDIA Shield into HDMI 2 on the back of the TV. And then I just kept the HDMI from the audio in to the EARC port on the back of the TV. And then I got a 5-port HDMI 2.1 switch. So I have this PC plugged in. I have the 2 Xboxes plugged into that switch, and I have that on port 4, HDMI port 4. So I get all the HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, VRR, 120 FPS at 4K. I get all of that through the switch, and then the Blu-ray player and the Shield are going into HDMI 1. So the TV will send lossless audio from the Panasonic Blu-ray player or the NVIDIA Shield back to the receiver. So you get Dolby Atmos, True HD. What I did on the TV was I went into the sound settings and I turned the AV sync off, and digital output to pass through, and the EARC I left on auto. Once I started routing everything into the TV directly, it cleared out my audio issues. So you don't really have any compromises. There's no reason not to plug your external devices into HDMI 1 and 2 on your TV, as long as you've got your receiver plugged into the EARC port. And my audio is perfectly synced. I think the Denon has like an audio sync feature, and the auto feature on the Denon and the TV were fighting each other. And then I don't know, somehow just, well, that might not totally be true, because I did turn this off and it didn't help when they were connected to the receiver. But it seems like plugging everything into the TV cleared up the audio sync issues. So that was really the only issue that I was having, and now I'm completely satisfied. Couldn't be happier. $3,000 for this TV is pretty incredible. You couldn't really tell this wasn't an OLED unless you had one next to it. That's how good the contrast is. That's probably a little closer to what I'm actually seeing in person. I just adjusted the ISO a little bit. That rolling is my camera. It's not on the TV. This TV's sick.